Hello, this is your special education virtual content specialist with the 8th grade lesson for May 18th. This lesson, as with all other lessons, can be found on TeachHub. All lessons provide the title, the focus question, and the learning objective, including standards and objectives for each lesson. Additionally, we provide guidance for using this resource, including instructional and technology guidance, implementation guidance for the lesson, guidance for summarizing, guidance for assessment during instruction, and general methods of engaging with students with disabilities and multilingual learners. 8th graders are working on Unit 8, the Pythagorean Theorem and Irrational Numbers. Day 15, Finding Unknown Side Lengths, Part A. How can we find the hypotenuse of a right triangle? The introduction begins by showing students 4 different statements, and students are going to answer the question, which one doesn't belong? Explain your thinking. To support students with disabilities, you can give them a sentence frame, as seen here. Option blank does not belong because blank. Answers will vary. For example, 3 squared plus b squared equals 5 squared is the only statement where b is not isolated. B squared equals 5 squared minus 3 squared is the only statement with 1 term on the left and 2 terms on the right side of the equation. Additionally, it's the only one with subtraction. 3 squared plus 5 squared equals b squared is the only statement that is not based on a 3, 4, 5 Pythagorean triple. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared is the only statement that has numbers for all of its terms. To synthesize the activity, you can ask your students to share one reason why a particular equation doesn't belong and record it and display the responses for all students to see. After each response, you can ask the class if they agree or disagree. Since there is no single correct answer to the question of which one does not belong, attend to the students' explanations and ensure that the reasons given make sense. For the Explore, students are to designate the hypotenuse with the letter C in order to help students who may be distracted by the letters designating each triangle example. You can have them highlight the hypotenuse as red, and then as a class show them that that would be the C for the Pythagorean theorem, which they will explore in a later portion of the lesson. Additionally, you can divide this portion of the Explore into an I do, we do, you do. So triangle A would be the I do, triangle B would be the we do, triangle C, D, E, F would be the you do. So for triangle A, this is where the hypotenuse is. Triangle B does not have a hypotenuse because it's not a right triangle. Triangle C is located here. Triangle D is located here. Triangle E is located here. And triangle F is located here. For this portion of the Explore, students are synthesizing what they had done in the previous slide. And so they should decide on the hypotenuses by choosing the side opposite of the right angle. Does every triangle have a hypotenuse? And they should know by example B, every triangle does not have a hypotenuse because not every triangle is a right triangle. For the first question on this slide, in a right triangle, does it matter which side is A and which is B? Explain your thinking. It does not matter which side is A or B, as long as you identify the hypotenuse, which is the longest side in a right triangle. After using that information, you're going to model the second question on the slide as an I do. A right triangle has side lengths of 7, 4, and x. Which sides could be the hypotenuse? Check all that apply. So 7 could be the hypotenuse as long as x is less than 7. 4 cannot be the hypotenuse since there is a length already longer than that, which is 7. And x can be the hypotenuse if it is longer than 7. You can treat the first question on this slide as the we do. A right triangle has lengths of 8 8 and x. Which side could be the hypotenuse? Check all that apply. In this case, students should recognize that x is the only option for the hypotenuse, since in isosceles right triangles, the longest length is neither of the equal sides, which would also help students with the you-do. A right triangle has side lengths of 5x and x. Which sides could be the hypotenuse? Check all that apply. The hypotenuse has to be 5, assuming that x has a value less than 5. For the summary, students are going to record their response to the focus question. How can we identify the hypotenuse of a right triangle? You can provide them with a sentence starter so they can focus on the content of their answer rather than sentence structure. For additional practice, students can complete the open up practice problems. Since this is a 2-day lesson, there will be other additional practice tomorrow once students have the complete lesson. These lessons were created utilizing illustrative mathematics and open up resources. Please feel free to visit to further support your students in remote learning. If you have any questions, please reach out to a virtual content specialist. Thank you.